Take 4, and we are against the treasure map versus Sulong Bepo. This is a very interesting treasure map, and I'm running some really cool teams that I think are great if you want speed, cool mechanics, and also high points in some regards. If you don't have any of the new batch, then this is the team for you. Unfortunately, we do use units from the recent batches, so Luffy versus Kaido. Although I think they are replaceable on the final boss, it's just the Intrusion, where they are playing a crucial role in versus Kaido. But I digress. The speed teams we are using are going to be centered around units like Super Tandem Law, who is very interesting, and I've actually never used him for a treasure map, so I'm very excited that I actually got to use him in such an interesting way. We are using the very cool mechanic he has in his captain ability, which sets the enemy's defense to 0 when you tap on him with a quick tandem or one orb. So it's very cool, and what it's gonna do is allow us to get around the enemy's very big 6-turn defense up on the first mini boss. Unfortunately, Law is not a cooldown captain, meaning he has 0 cooldown in his captain ability. He's very annoying to team build around, but it makes it worth it in the end. He's the only character in the game that has such a cool effect for defense down. And he also procs it with his super tandem, and also gives us an attack boost, a huge one, might I add, and a chain growth rate boost. So he goes really well with Ace, who's going to give us an orb boost as well as a chain boundary. And then he also has the abilities to go through barriers with the barrier pierce potential ability. So this all adds up to make a really solid character who works really well with Law. Chain boundary from Ace, chain growth rate from Law, attack boost from Law, orb boost from Ace, conditional boost from Super Tandem Law, and he also has his Super Tandem attack boost, which is always nice. Brook synergizes really well with these guys as well, because he has the great potential ability to give our bottom row units, crewmate ability to give our bottom row units a Wano orb, which works really well for Ace. And he also gives us a 6-turn resilience and despair reduction, which works very well, as you can see here. Getting around resilience is very nice. Instead of using end of turn damage, it makes it much more faster. And then he also gives us a color affinity. We also use Ace, as I said before. The strength orb that Kuma gives to Law is crucial to make sure we get the boundary from Ace's special, so he also plays a really nice role. I'm not really using Law until much later, but this is just an example to show you how much damage you can get. As you can see, there's a lot of different factors involved here that can make the damage immense. 125 million without intrusion boost. Now that is very good, especially considering we haven't added a potential 0.7 chain boost from Marco support onto Ace, and we only hit a good tap, so we aren't building any chain. So this is a really good team in terms of damage. Only issue is it is high requirements. You do need a -2 cooldown ship and expansion on versus Ace. I should have probably mentioned that at first, but either way, it's a very good team, very fast, very cool, and very damage friendly. The second team here is also very interesting in the fact that we are having our main damage dealers not have type advantage. And unfortunately, you do need level limit break 3 and not expansion, but you need to be in the 6+ form of Stampede Luffy. Stampede Luffy is great for this quest because he gives us a 3-turn cooldown reduction, which allows our Toki and our versus Whitebeard to be ready on the second stage. I'm pretty sure you could also use maybe Carrot for her -2 cooldown, but at the same time that would mean you would need a -2 cooldown ship, and I do want to make this team a bit more accessible. We can use our Toki on stage 2 for our captains. That will negate the despair, but you don't even need that since Luffy gets around it anyways in his captain, so don't worry about that. It's mainly just for the attack and orb boost. You don't want to be using Luffy on the final stage, trust me, because he's a ridiculously slow special. So having Toki there for the ridiculously high attack and orb boost with basically no extra time is great for speed and damage. The fact that we don't have type advantage is really not a problem at this point, because yeah, as you can see, Luffy is very strong regardless. And you make sure you use your Whitebeard on stage 2 and later stages for a chain boundary and a chain growth rate boost, which will skyrocket the damage. So that's basically it. As I said, you could use carrot instead. I'm pretty sure if you do have a -2 cooldown ship, but otherwise I would recommend just using Stampede Luffy. I still need to do some more testing, but as for now, that team works as intended. Just a bit weird in terms of pap advantage. Okay, team 3 here is going to be using the stock standard not V3, but level limit break 3 V1 Kuzan. He's great for the attack and all boost on the final stage. We are using him in tandem with the Shiryu with a color affinity boost. Shiryu is not only great for that, but he also is going to give us a 80% damage reduction, very much required on this adventure, where the enemy's goal is to kill us with a 100k death hit. Not only that, they'll also give us a 410 2x increased damage taken, a stun of 2x to our our bottom row, and you can't get around the increased damage taken with potential abilities, because your units are going to be binded and stunned when you enter the stage, meaning that your potential abilities are being altered due to that fact. So you can't reduce it with potential abilities, meaning you're gonna have to basically deal with a 200k death hit, and that's after removing the stun, which we are using, putting rare recruit on Sanji to get around that. So there's only 1 or 2 Sanjis in the game, or this Sanji is the only one in the game who's a shooter unit, so he's also needed because we need 5 shooters for the Wano orbs from our Kikinojo and Izo. Use your Shiryu for color affinity, and that's basically it. We have Capone, who's literally just a glass cannon. We are also making sure that our glass cannon unit in Capone is going to have a barrier pierce, and Shiryu also has a barrier pierce, so we can get around the enemy's barrier, and also make sure that they are shooter, of course. Shiryu is not shooter, so he's going to be our one unit that is going to be our exception. We only need 5 shooters, so we do have 1 unit of leniency. So Shiryu is fulfilling that position already. You need to have that unit be a shooter unit, so that's why we are using Capone. Capone is also driven, meaning he gets the color affinity from Shiryu special, and he is also int with the barrier pierce. So Capone is really ideal. You could also use Legend 6+ Buggy, but Capone for me is the highest statted unit. So just use whatever you have. Make sure that they are int, make sure they are shooter, and that they have barrier pierce. The bonus is that they have driven or slasher class as well, so that they can get around, or so that they can go past the enemy barrier. Okay, the final mini boss team is a bit of a weird one. We are using no bottom row units, and that is because our bottom row, one of the units gets swapped into our captain by the enemy. Now that is not only annoying for team building, but it's so annoying in terms of the speed. It takes so slow for that to happen. So we are just going to negate it by not having any bottom row characters. So the enemy doesn't even try to do anything, which is great for speed and just the overall integrity of our team. So not only that, but also our captain gets action binded, which can be mistaken for special bind when you're reading through the gimmicks. But don't get that mixed up as I did. You cannot use any specials or superclasses for your captains on the final stage. Very annoying, but we are going to be using Ute on stage 1. Then we can use Opera on stage 1 and 2 for amazing wave clear, as our Ute special just gradually gets stronger. Make sure you have the support of Nami and Hancock and Robin for a orb on Oprah, and also the support of Roger, or if you don't have a -2 cooldown ship or expansion on Vivi and Rebecca, make sure you have Mr. 3 support for a 2-turn cooldown to make sure that Vivi and Rebecca is ready on the final stage. We have an attack boost and all boost from our Uta, which is very strong, by the way. You could use Uta's super class on stage 2 as well for even stronger attack and all boost and super tandem attack boost. And then you can also have the swap effect of Vivi and Rebecca, giving you a 2.5x chain lock. So there's a lot of things that you can do here for more damage, but overall it's pretty fast. 2 supports and 1 special on the final stage, or it's kind of just scattered all over the show. We have 1 special, 1 support on stage 1, a support on stage 2, and then 1 special on the final stage. And you can have an additional swap if you want for a chain lock. But overall, a very interesting team. I love it. It's very unique. I don't really use Uta in treasure maps, so it's really fun to work around these very weird mechanics that this treasure map is introducing. Let's get into the final boss though. As I said before, you do need a high HP ship if you don't have a 1.5x stat boost from the Intrusion. So just run a high HP ship, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm running the Grand Zoro ship. You could use Dinghy, you could use Whale Sharks, I don't care, just use something that works because we are using Arlong. Make sure you have Lafitte on your Van Ogre for the 1 turn of bind reduction for the final stage. Mrs. Kaido is really not required for this quest, but he's recommended for his high damage multipliers. And of course we are using Lucci versus Kaku, or Lucci and Kaku. Make sure that you are starting in a dex form, otherwise they will not get the boost at the start of the quest, which allows their super swap to be ready. That will introduce some problems if you do not select the right type. Make sure it's dex, otherwise you won't get the super swap charged. Pretty good points, not too bad, not too great, but for not having any new batch, you can't expect much more. In terms of Ace, he's the best booster for us in terms of our team. He really serves no purpose besides being a point booster, so if you are struggling with functionality, you can replace Ace entirely. So stage 1 here, we can just kill off the enemy. Make sure you actually hit your perfects so that you can kill them as fast as possible, or hit a great strike, that should be enough. And as you can see there, the super swap of Luchikaku is ready. We get a ton of nasty debuffs, attack down, special bind, enemy defense up, and background dances. But we can use the super swap to get around the enemy defense up. We can use the special of our Junbei to get around, to release our characters from a special bind. Then use Lucci and Kaku. As you can see, the unit survives with a teeny bit of HP. If you have a higher stated Lucci Kaku, that will kill them. Or if you are running the Intrusion battle. So you having that 1.5x boost is nice. Definitely not required, as I've said before. So now you can just hit with the other characters. Honestly, you can also use Kaido here just to get some matching orbs if you want and make sure that you can kill. It really doesn't matter. Kaido is not being used on the final stage anyways. So there's a lot of leniency here. As I said, you can replace Ace. Van Ogre is great for the final stage because he gets rid of the bind. Surely there's other options to remove bind, so don't worry, Van Ogre is not required. But as you can see, we have that pesky 3 million damage limiter. So release your units from bind. Also make sure that your Junbei is on the middle left slot, because he is the most useless for the final stage. So the middle left is always going to be the one who's blown away. Use your Arlong. There goes the enemies on the back. There goes the damage limiter. Make sure the high HP ship is there, otherwise it will not kill them. I don't want to see comments about this. Unless your units are still not killing even after that. It might be an issue of your stats. So make sure you are running also stat support for HP. That's really it. The enemy's defensive effects are weakened by Lucci and Kaku. So their captain ability is really nice for that. And honestly, don't use Luan, don't use Kaido until it becomes necessary. As I said, he could be used on the second stage instead. But overall, it's a very easy kill. So that's going to be it for the final boss. Let's go through the Intrusion really quick before I end off the video. Okay, so here we have the Intrusion finally. And this one is very similar, but also kind of different. So, as I said before, Kaido is unfortunately required on this team. Now, it is because he basically handles the entire stage 2 by himself. The enemy has a 6-10 damage reduction and threshold. Yet they have a 2 tandem orb barrier, which, mind you, Kaido also gives tandem and 1 orbs, so that gets around the barrier. It also gives a modification of weak attack boosts. We get a weak attack boost, so yeah, Kaido is really good. And there is a 50% chance of it being a weak orb boost instead, in which case Kaido just gives a flat out huge attack boost, so it doesn't matter. Either way, the damage is great. The weak orb boost gets removed before the final stage damage time we deal damage, so don't worry about that either. But once again, we are going to be using our Lucci and Kaku. We do have the support of our Whitebeard on our ace. Any 2-turn despair reducing support is going to work. But Whitebeard is pretty accessible. Well, actually might not be. I never pull that guy, especially for newer players, might not be accessible. But you know, it is what it is. Stage 1, just as the usual kill. We are going to have a full board of recovery orbs, so it makes it a lot easier to just kill the enemy compared to the final boss. We do get a 1-turn rewind, so we are going to be using the super swap of Lucci and Kaku. So once again, make sure that they are starting in dex form, because that is required. We use our Kaido, because why not? And then that's really it. It's very basic stage 2, but very effective. Bepo is, once again, as Ace was, useless. So you can, actually it's no, both Ace and Bepo are entirely useless. You can replace them no matter what. There's literally no point to them besides points. So once again, Vanoga is serving a purpose, that being rewind or special cooldown providing, I guess. And then oh wait, no, Ace does serve a purpose, I forgot. So Ace is gonna get our Lucci and Kaku a turn of cooldown, as well as our, what's his face? Yori. So Yori is great, gets around the attack down, or some of it, and the despair. They also give us an attack boost, and then we have the special of our Lucci to give us a bunch of buffs, and the chain is very important because we do have a huge chain attack down. And then just hit it perfect, get rid of the chain attack down, and you can kill. I think I forgot to swap them, but make sure you also swap them to get into the dex form. And I don't think it really matters because the type cancellation that we have, but I think we get a matching orb on them, so it's also kind of important since they are a huge damage dealer. But that's basically it. Very basic Kaido carries. Not much more to say. That you don't need much of a brain to pick up something like that. The final boss is a bit more intuitive. But that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, ask them down below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy. And if you want to see more teams like these in the future, I really enjoyed building teams for this treasure map. It is quite difficult, this treasure map, but as I said, it was very fun team building, very newer mechanics that they're playing around with, which I'm excited to see. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and I'm out.